the 25 years really brings old memories of President Samora Machel, what he stood for, what he did. As you'll recall, day before yesterday, we were at Mbuzini, where he actually had his plane crashing. I think that was a devastating blow to the struggle in Southern Africa, to the new independent states in Southern Africa. It had not happened that the head of state came across such a fatal end. And of course, as you know, the response was very angry, and everybody felt a life of a man who had such a future, because he was a very practical man, had been cut short. And of course, we felt it will have an impact in our struggle, and it did have an impact to our struggle itself. So when today we come together and laying wreaths and paying tribute that has been paid very fittingly, I think the mind goes back and you ask yourself a question: what would be the situation like today if Samora Machel was here? He was a kind of man who could make things happen, but also very visionary, very brave. In the square where the tributes were being paid, we attended many of his meetings there, and he made a lot of declarations. It was in that area when he said, "We are one people," and he quoted millions between the Mozambicans and South Africans. At least what he died for has been achieved, because we are all free now. But as you must have heard from the president here in particular and his wife, Samora Machel, there is one question that remains unanswered. What happened? At the time he died, there were many theories, and unfortunately, the inquiries that were made as well produced contradictory kind of results. So it remained an issue that we needed to do. But we cannot afford to forget this hero, because when Samora arrived in 1975, I think the Southern Africa shook. When he came back from Tanzania, he traveled from the borders, not on air, coming to Maputo, as they call it, from Ruvuma to Maputo. He came, and that made South Africa feel freedom was just here at the borders. As you know, young people, particularly belonging to the Black consciousness movement, celebrated the freedom here as if it was in South Africa, which meant the regime in South Africa reacted very violently and arrested people for mere demonstration and sent them to Robben Island. But the situation was never the same. Southern Africa changed. For the first time, freedom fighters in South Africa had a direct border with a country that could support the Mozambique. And therefore that escalated the struggle very high, and therefore quickened the date or the day of our own freedom. So I'm very happy, and I'm happy that I'm here. I was at Mbuzini, I'm here. I don't think I could have failed, because I was here in Mozambique. And I interacted with the president a great deal. Certainly, Samora's presence in Southern Africa made an impact which today we've got to remember. I was very happy with the tribute that was paid. To us, it was a blow, because Samora was a very brave man. Southern Africa, I think he was very large as a revolutionary, larger than many, but in his own way. So he left a legacy of revolution, because people believed this was a liberator. And he was a liberator in a sense, because of what he did in his own country and the support he gave to all of us. We are now free. We come here as free people to remember Samora Machel. South Africa said it will do whatever it can to find the truth. And I don't think I can go against that kind of commitment of my leaders who said so before. And of course, Mozambicans have raised the issue. I think some attempts have been made to investigate, and I think part of what the Truth and Reconciliation investigation did was to try to investigate this. As you know, there were a number of investigations. That in itself, precisely because there were different conclusions, it brings a challenge that indeed you still need to find the truth. So I would not go against what President Mandela and President Mbeki said as a country, now that I have that responsibility to take the decision. And therefore, if we are able to find the truth, I think we must. South Africa established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, not to revenge, but to know the truth. And therefore, I think it is in our culture to find the truth so that you could, at the end, put behind you the kind of the tragedy like this one. If you know the facts, you can then say, at least I know. I now can live in peace. I think the family has been agonizing all this time up to now. I don't think South Africa will fail to cooperate on this matter. So it will be a discussion that will finally shape the nature of what vehicle that will be used to find the truth.